One of the questions that comes up from time to time is, how do we prorate taxes? Well, in Arkansas, we're a year behind in real estate taxes. So what we're paying here in 2010 is actually 2009. So all taxes are based on the first of the year. So we prorate from the first of the year to the day of closing, giving a credit to the buyer. Now, on taxes that are outside the city limits, there are what's called special levy taxes. In our terminology, they're fire improvement district taxes, which are volunteer fire departments. Those volunteer fire departments must have their money up front. They have to have it the same year that we're in. So if the seller is paying 2009 real estate taxes in 2010, he is actually paying last year's real estate taxes, but this year's fire improvement district taxes. There's also sewer improvement district and in a few instances timber tax that's out there on a lot of acreage. Now all that is prorated as an advance, which means we would go from the day after closing to the end of the year that we're in and give that credit back to the seller, since they're ultimately responsible for paying it to begin with. Sometimes there are occasions when family members are giving property to their children, or they're giving property to aunts and uncles, or it may be a grandparent passing down property to a son or daughter. When they do that, they want to avoid, of course, paying a lot of fees that they deem that aren't necessary. Their ultimate theme is, we've owned this property for 30 years, so we know that there's no outstanding liens on the property. We know that we're only going to give them an acre of land out here, and we can describe that acre of land. What they fail to understand is, if they make the wrong call on a meets and bounds description on that 1 acre of land, it ultimately will affect them down the road when they try to either sell their property, or the son or daughter that they've given that property to try to sell theirs, because several things come about. One, they've made the wrong call, so it puts a cloud on the title. Secondly, there may have been, at one point in time, they failed to pay some sort of bill. That bill becomes a lien. That lien is placed on their property, which again places a cloud on the title. They may have failed to give an easement on the land that they own to the people that they're giving the property to. And although they'll allow them to come across their land, once they sell that off, if they have not granted an easement for ingress and egress to the family member that they gave that property to, the new buyer of their property can say, you're screwed, because I'm not going to give you an easement to get to your land. So in title speak, that's called being landlocked, where there's no access to get to the property. A lot of times older couples will decide that they're going to do a trust, and they forgot that they had deeded off some of the property to one of their children. So they go to a lawyer, they give the lawyer all the legal descriptions of the properties that they held, and the lawyer puts that into their trust. They file a deed. The deed then becomes a cloud on the individual that they gave the property to from their trust. If something happens to them, and there's no way for them to confirm that they did give this property to that individual, then the relative is going to have a hard time trying to sell their property or even mortgage their property because of that cloud being out there. One of the biggest things that a family member can do is to just pay that little bit of extra money that it's going to cost them for a title company to handle the process of the transaction. That way they are assured that their relative is getting what they want them to have. The property is handled in a manner that will protect them in the future against any encumbrances on that property, and make it a whole lot simpler for them in the long run. So a little money spent up front saves a lot of money being spent on the backside if they don't do that. And for those of you that are interested, you can call us at 425-2264, ask for Jay Arvella or Sandy or Mary, and we'd be glad to help you. And we thank you.